Hello, Internet. Welcome to the channel, everyone. If you are new here, my name is Gina, otherwise known as Ginger Dash. And for those of you returning, thank you, as always, for coming by, saying hello, throwing a like if you feel so inclined. If you are brand new to motorcycling, as in you are considering getting a motorcycle now, or you have just purchased a motorcycle and you have zero riding experience, this video is for you. A little over a year ago, I bought my first motorcycle and I had no riding experience. I had been a passenger about 20 times in my life, and at 50, that didn't amount to a whole lot. I knew what riding was. I knew that I enjoyed it as a passenger, but I had never even started up a motorcycle. So the very first place to start, if you are someone like me, is take the MSF course, the Motorcycle Safety Foundation Basic Rider course. If you have to learn, if you haven't had any experience operating a motorcycle, you will learn at this class. You will learn what the friction zone is. You will learn how to shift up and down, how to find neutral. You will learn the very basic building blocks to make you a successful rider, and you need those things. Do not skip that if you want to be successful. All of this is from my perspective, and it is my opinion. You will obviously do as you wish. However, know that when you leave the MSF course, whether you pass or not, whether you can get your endorsement or not, if you have access to a motorcycle, at that point, you are no longer learning to ride, you are riding to learn. And I say that in that fashion because when you complete the MSF course, you will know no more than how to shift into second gear. You will never leave second gear. You will probably never go over 20 miles an hour. That doesn't mean the course or the class is worthless. It is far from worthless.
And if you'll excuse the interruption here momentarily, I just want to make a point to say that the MSF course is very comprehensive. When I say that you leave there only knowing things up to a certain point, I'm speaking most specifically to the speeds that you will reach and the gears that you will utilize. It is a 2-day intensive course here in the US by my experience, and you will spend at least 10 hours on the range on the motorcycle learning all aspects of motorcycling.
As I mentioned, it's the foundation for the rest of your riding. It is what you use to build your skills upon. So the next thing that you're going to do after taking that MSF course, no matter whether you're successful at passing or not, is if you are now in possession of a motorcycle, start riding. I say that with a caveat of don't start riding on a busy street. In fact, I recommend you find a parking lot or you ride around your neighborhood only for several weeks at minimum until you have achieved a level of comfort. There's just so much, and obviously I'm not an instructor. I am not making myself out to be an instructor, but the amount of time you put into learning to ride properly, gaining confidence, and the all-important muscle memory, it will only serve to make you a better, more confident rider more quickly. When you first start to ride a motorcycle, it can be somewhat overwhelming. I think many people would say that, no matter their age, because you're forced to use all of your limbs for different reasons. At the very start, you may feel incredibly overwhelmed. But I am here to tell you that that will pass. You will learn, but you must have patience with yourself. In 2018, which is the last study that I could find, there were over 12 million motorcycles in operation in the United States alone. 12 million, more than that. So in the last 2.5 years, I can only imagine how many new motorcycles would be added to that count. So if more than 12 million people have learned to ride, you can too. As long as you're patient with yourself, and as long as you understand you may not be great right at the beginning. In fact, many people, myself included, suffer from anxiety or nervousness that can sometimes cause you not to want to get on the bike at all because you're scared. What is it that people are scared of when they first get on a motorcycle? For me, it was dropping my bike. I wasn't so much scared about injuring myself, especially in slow speed maneuvers, but I was worried about damaging my motorcycle. But self-injury is also an option. Not one you would choose, but all the same. So, patience, perseverance. Those first few weeks, first few months that you are working to become a better rider, ride as much as you feel you can. You will eventually work yourself up to being able to ride on larger roads. And when I say larger, I mean ones that have more traffic, that have more distractions. Now for me, I wanted to tell you about some of the things that I struggled with when I was first riding. The rear view mirrors are essential on a motorcycle, in my opinion. I guess you can ride without them. But coming from a car and only ever having driven a car, adjusting to side mirrors only and not having that rear view mirror that gives me that perfect backward view was actually somewhat disorienting, to the point that I became a little too obsessive about looking at my rear view mirrors. I was so uncomfortable with the fact that I couldn't see everything behind me. And as important as it is to pay attention to your rear view, what is happening in the direction you are traveling is going to be infinitely more important than what is happening behind you. So don't be obsessive. And if you find yourself obsessing about some particular aspect of motorcycling, ask yourself why, and then make a conscious effort to work past it and simply incorporate those rear view mirror checks, in my case, as frequently as is necessary, but not in an obsessive manner. Something else to keep in mind is that you will experience various weather conditions on a motorcycle, and not all of them will be easy to deal with. I'm not going to talk a lot about this because I have a video, one specifically talking about wind, but windy conditions, especially strong crosswinds that come as gusts, as well as other windy conditions, can be incredibly scary if you've never experienced them. So you will need to prepare yourself for those things, or choose not to ride on the days that those things are present weather-wise. Another thing is rain. Obviously, everybody knows that the roads are going to be more slick when it's raining. However, there's one specific area that people don't always realize is especially slippery. And that is, if, as we look forward here, these white lines on the side of the road, and especially when you come to a stop at a traffic light, the large white bands that are at the front, if you happen to be the first person at that light, avoid ever stopping on those white bands at traffic lights. In the rain, they are incredibly slippery. Another slippery thing that you may not realize is even, why would you think of it? Leaves, depending on the tree, and I have one where I live, leaves can be really slippery to ride on. Sometimes even just duck walking your bike, you can slip, your foot can slip. And so I'm not saying these things to scare you. I'm saying these things because I discovered them as I was learning to ride in those first few months. And so, hey, I discovered it, trial and error, but I'm telling you, so you have a little heads up and don't have to discover those things on your own. Another thing is turn signals. Most motorcycles, not all, but most motorcycles, oh gosh, dust. Hold my breath. Hold on. Ugh. That was nasty. Oh. Okay, so anyway, turn signals. The very first video I made on here, and probably at least one or two others, I've had people go, oh, hey, you need to turn your turn signal off. I know. These bikes do not have self-canceling turn signals. Am I better about it now? Yes. But it is a conscious thing. You must consciously address it. Every time you turn the turn signal on, you must then turn it off. So it becomes one more step in like 5 or 6 steps. Now I will tell you, I had a list of things, but it blew away. Yeah. I don't usually use stickies, but I was like, oh, I want to make sure to talk about this, and it blew away. So I think the last thing I'm going to talk about is there's this phrase that you will hear the longer you're a motorcyclist: ride your own ride. And that covers so many different aspects of motorcycling. The most important thing is that you are patient with yourself. Do not allow anyone else to pressure you into a riding situation you are not yet comfortable with. If someone else is learning to ride at the same time as you and they ride more often and they are more advanced, you know, if you want to use that to spur you on in a way to get you out riding more often, great. But never compare your progress to your progress to anyone else's. Once you become an accomplished motorcyclist, you will come out of it feeling so incredible, with a lifestyle that simply can't be compared to anything else. Aw, hey cutie. If I had known when I started riding that I was going to end up doing a motovlog, I would have journaled, because I feel like there would have been so many moments as I was riding that it would have been amazing to look back on and be like, oh man, I could totally share that. People would get that. But I don't, so I'm trying to use my memory at this point. So that is all I have for you this week. I hope life is treating everyone out there very well. And that you will come and visit me again. And now I'm going to turn these cameras off and simply enjoy the rest of my ride. Until next time. Picture time. Okay. There's my list. All right. I can never take pictures with the gloves on, because even though it's supposed to be touch sensitive, it's not. Ooh, lots of bikes out tonight. It's not that exciting. Sunday evening ride. And that's a wrap.